Hi artists! Today I'm going to show you how to make a monoprint. A monoprint is a type of printmaking where you can only pull one image each time, so you cannot have the same print ever again exactly the same. What you will need for this project is a paintbrush, paint with colors of your choice. You can use acrylic or you could use tempera, but watercolor will not work well. It needs to be a thick paint that can cover a surface so that the underneath doesn't show through. You will need a paper towel, and then you will need either a Ziploc bag or some kind of tin with a flat bottom. So you can decide if you would like to do your printmaking on your Ziploc or on a tin. You will need some paper to print on. And then I also got some optional items, and these will be used to add texture or to draw onto your print. So I have a Q-tip, a fork, and then I also took this leaf from one of my plants that had fallen off because it has some neat holes and it has a cool shape to it. So once you have collected your materials, make sure that you set aside an area that you don't mind if it gets a little messy. I'm going to go ahead and cover up my table, and then I will show you what your next step is. You are going to need to either flatten out your Ziploc bag or turn your tin over and get that ready for painting if you're going to use a tin. I'm going to start by using my Ziploc bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my paint. You can pour your paint into a tray, but sometimes I like to pour mine directly onto my bag. And I want to use more than one color for my print, so I'm going to do some blue green, and then I'm also going to add some yellow. Then I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to paint on my Ziploc bag just like I would on paper. So what I want to do right now is I want to make sure that my bag is covered and that you can't see underneath the paint. So I'm creating like a solid wall of color, and I can't really see the underneath anymore. Then I'm going to move on to this color and blend it. And then lastly, I'm going to move on to my yellow, blend it. And remember, you can only print this one design one time. So once you get your one design, you'll have to paint this all over again. Okay, so I painted the majority of my bag, and now it looks like this. So now I have a decision to make. I can either print this on its own the way it looks now. If you like the way that your painted bag looks without anything done to it, just painted, you can totally go ahead and just print that. Or you can take one of your texture tools, such as your Q-tip or your fork, or in my case, a leaf, and you can place it down either onto your print, or you can draw in your print using a Q-tip. So in this situation, I'm gonna just do some little swirly marks. So when I'm doing this, I'm actually taking away the paint, and you're starting to see the underneath, the empty space again. So you're revealing, you're wiping away. I'm just drawing some shapes and squiggles. Once you're happy with the way this looks, you're going to put down your texture tool, take one of your pieces of paper, and then you're going to carefully lay your paper down onto your print, and then you're going to press. You're not going to rub, because that will rub out anything that you just drew, and it will kind of create a blob. If you want to try that, you totally can. but I'm going to try to preserve my drawing by just pressing. So you'll start to feel your paper sticking to the paint. I'm going to make sure that I got all of my paper areas pressed in. And then the most exciting part is the big reveal. I'm going to carefully flip over my bag. I'm going to hold my paper with my finger and peel back my bag. Set my bag aside. And there you have your very own monoprint. Once you have pulled your first monoprint, you have two options. You can either attempt to reprint, so to replace this bag with the leftover paint onto a new paper and create what's called a ghost image, which means it's sort of going to look a little like your first print, but it's going to be a lot more dull and faded because you have so much less paint, which is why they call it a ghost image. Or you can take a wet paper towel and you can wipe until your bag is clean, and then you can begin to print again. So I'm going to actually just set mine aside, and I'm going to do my second print on the back of my tin. So I'm going to flip over my tin, and I'm going to do sort of like I did before. I'm just going to pour on some paint, just like I would if I was painting on paper. Take my paintbrush and paint on my tin until I can't see any silver anymore. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm creating a thick layer, not so thick that you can see lumps, but thick enough that there's no silver showing through. Took a lot of purple. Alright, and then I think I'm going to spread some purple up here, spread some blue onto my yellow, mix it up a little bit. Alright, put my paintbrush down, and now I'm going to try mixing my technique from before, drawing with my Q-tip, and then also printing with my leaf. So when you press an object into your print, you're blocking that paint from going onto your paper. So what I'm hoping will happen is that anywhere my leaf is sitting, it will be white on my paper and the paint will not show through. Then I'm just going to add some details with my Q-tip. I like these wavy type of lines. Alright, once you are ready, you're putting your Q-tip down. My object isn't flat. It would be a little better if it was completely flat. Then I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to press, press, press. Not rubbing, we're just pressing. I'm excited to see how this one will come out. I can feel that my paper is almost completely stuck onto my tin, so that tells me that I'm ready. And then I'm going to carefully peel up my paper. And there's my monoprint. And just like I thought, everywhere that had a leaf on it did not get paint. So I could actually go back into this white space with a pen or maybe a Sharpie, and I could draw in here. And then I'm left with this. And if I wanted, I could take my last sheet of paper and try to capture a ghost image. So get that last bit of paint on. light ghost image. You can layer too if you want. Maybe I could go back and try to get that extra paint on here from where my leaf was sitting. And I got part of my leaf. Wipe this off. And I could even play around on my ghost image sheet and take my leaf that now got covered in paint and press my leaf down. See if I can pull a print from my leaf. And I did.